How's it going, everybody?
You know who it is.
My name is Sunwoo, and the OPXY just received another firmware update, and that's exactly what I want to talk about in today's video. So without further ado, let's take a look at the update notes. It starts off with support incoming and outgoing Midi clock over Bluetooth. I personally haven't tried that yet, but what this should enable you to do is not only send MIDI notes and MIDI CCs over Bluetooth and control another synthesizer, but also have them run in sync with one another without having any cables hooked up, which of course is very convenient. So if you're using this with an iPad, with a laptop, or any other device that has MIDI Bluetooth, then you can send that over. However, that device also needs to be capable of receiving MIDI clock over Bluetooth. So that's a problem you're going to run in when, for example, trying to use this with the OP1 field, because I believe this one doesn't send or receive MIDI clock over Bluetooth, and therefore this feature won't work. So that's a limitation of the OP1 field, and I've noticed that before. I think, however, the Teenage Engineering TX6, so the little mixer, can send and receive clock over Bluetooth. So I don't know why the OP1 field isn't capable of that, but yeah, that's something to be aware of. Not every other device will be able to receive this data. And next up, a very interesting addition, and that is add drum key, copy, and paste. If we are in a drum kit or on a drum track, and we've got sounds laid out here, we might want to copy this sound over there. So all we got to do is hold this sound, and the menu comes up, press copy, go over here, hold this, and press paste. And now we got the same key or the same sound here and there. And what this will be especially interesting for is when you go about and sample your own stuff and you want to chop up sample. Because so far there's no proper sample chopping mode. So the workaround here would be to record onto a certain pad. Let's record something. La 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 la. Wonderful singing. La 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 la. And I've got it on this key. And now I would go on and copy, paste, 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 and so on. Paste the same sample into multiple keys. And then I can go in and adjust start and end points. So that would be your workaround for simple sample chopping. So next up, relay incoming transport to other connected MIDI device, meaning if you receive start and stop commands, let's say over USB, it would also be transmitted over MIDI back out to other devices is what I assume. Or the other way, if you receive something via TRS MIDI, it would be transmitted back out to USB or whatever other MIDI devices you may have connected. I haven't tried that yet, so I can't say how well that works. And next, add channel option when sampling from source, line in, and USB. Okay, so again, when we're in the sampling menu and we can select where do we want to sample from, what's our input, we can go to line in, for example, and maybe you can see it right there next to the logo. There's an L and an R. If I press Shift and turn the knob, I can select L, R, and left and right. So we can decide, do we want to sample only the left channel, the right channel, or in stereo? One option that seems to be missing is to sum both channels into mono, which would make sense if we want to, for example, use a send and return loop using the output back into the input, and we want to have one effects unit on the left channel and one on the right, but we want to return them back into the middle of the stereo field. So this is something I wish for they will implement in future, hopefully. But either way, it's cool that this is implemented, and they got there before Electron implemented it on the Digitact, because that one, as far as I know, still doesn't have mono sampling. And then we got store brain routing per pattern and not per scene. I think that makes sense as well. We got a lot of fixes to the sampling and to the Midi connection. I'm not going to go through all of them in detail, but obviously the OPXY has been released a little bit prematurely, so it is nice that these fixes or these bugs are being addressed. And then we got show parameter locks better on synth screens. Yeah, that's something I noticed when locking things into parameters. Oftentimes it wouldn't reflect these values properly later on. So here it jumps to the values. It jumps to the values. Yeah, there are things happening, and same when I play this back, it shows all my parameter locks. So that is good. I'm glad they're working on that. In the arranger, we've got very interesting additions, and that is add clone and reset options. So right now we are in scene 1, and if I press shift, it shows me clone and reset. So that means I can now clone scene 1, and it will create a new scene that is using all the same patterns that scene 1 was using, which is much better than how it was before. If you went to a new scene, it would by default use all the first patterns for every track. And this cloning of scenes happens also when I go to any empty scene. So for example, scene 9 will be an empty one, and you can see that on track 6 here, I'm on pattern 2, and that will be the same for scene 9 right now. So it will automatically clone the last pattern and paste it into this new scene. If I want scene 9 to have all pattern 1, I can still do that as it was before. I just gotta press shift and reset. And now for all tracks, pattern 1 will be selected. And then we got song mode allows for 96 scenes per song. Okay, I didn't even know how many were possible before, but we've got 96 scenes per song. That's all right. Song mode also added copy and paste to songs. So if you are creating different songs, which you can save down here on these keys, you can see that the song number changes. I don't have much going on in terms of songs here, but just imagine different scenes being connected. Like this, for example. This is song 7 now. And if I want to copy and paste song 7 into another slot in order to change some things around, all I got to do is press and hold song 7, copy, and now go to an empty one and paste it in there. And then we have a whole lot of fixes to step components. So I guess there were some troublesome step components that didn't work as they should. So I'm glad to see the fixes. Again, not going to go through all of them. We've got arpeggio fixes. On the tape track, we have improved tape fine-tune knob. So that is something I addressed in my video about the tape track. This knob here would not give you all the percentages available on the tape track. So sometimes you would skip 2% instead of going 1% at a time. That is nice to see. And also it goes 1% per click of the encoder, which is not something we always see with teenage engineering devices. Sometimes you will go multiple clicks before the value will change. So this is nice to see here. And then we got some additional fixes when it comes to connecting the OPXY with the computer and importing samples. So it now supports more types of characters for the file names, which is also very welcome because if you ever imported samples into the OPXY, you may have noticed that it won't accept your samples because there is a certain symbol in the file name, and that is pretty annoying to have to rename all your samples just because they contain a dash or whatever it is that isn't accepted. And then, yeah, avoiding crashes is always good. Avoiding messing up your projects also. Fixing sample browser crash, fix song mode crash, fix preset rename crash. So yes, we got a bunch of fixes. We got a few nice additions that really improve the workflow, and I'm happy so far that they keep up the regular updates. I think there are a lot more updates needed, however, so I am looking forward to more updates. But yes, this is getting somewhere that it is more usable and what it should have been from the start, because I think, as I said before, it was released a little prematurely, and I hope they iron out all these little bugs and also implement some of the user feedback that they have gotten so far, because certainly there are a few more things that could be improved, some of which I have already collected in a video somewhere up there. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching the video. Hope to see you in the next one. Until then, have a wonderful time. Peace.